Welcome to Just Koryzma, episode 21. I'm your host, Braden Koryzma, and joining me today is Adam Mackay. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, thank you.
That's good. So Adam is an athletic trainer. He used to rewind electric motors, which is actually really cool, but he's recently left that career to pursue, weightlifting competitions and athletic training, which is exciting. It's his passion. That's what we like to hear.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So tell me, you were saying, you left your job. That was a very hard, tough choice for you. So how did you know it was the right choice?
Well, it wasn't necessarily a difficult choice. So I was in Vancouver at the time. It was quite funny, actually. So the way that circumstances go, you know what? Let's do this.
For sure.
Because it's probably just going to be easier. So, basically, I was working at my job, and I had a competition coming up. It was in Vancouver. Oh, you know what? I don't have the proper... Nope, don't have the right
No worries, man.
Can you ask that question again?
Sure. So, you left your job,
Yeah.
and then you made the decision to leave your job to follow your passion. Did you find that an easy choice, or did you find it, you had to sit there? Like, I know, you were telling me previously, you kind of just knew, but like, was it kind of like just hard to swallow? Like, you're just like, I have to do this, or was it just you needed?
It was a scary decision, but at the same time, there was no other option at the time.
Okay.
So the circumstances of me having to make that decision were, I was at work, crying, because I had recently found out some news about my brother and sister,
right,
where they were in a really tough spot. And, when you're in dieting for a show and, you get into those final weeks, man, you're an emotional wreck. Like, when you get to a certain level of leanness, things start to kind of happen with your hormones.
For sure.
Where you become, at least in my experience, very sensitive, very empathetic, and just generally beaten down. So, anyways, go back to the beginning. I grew up and I identify as someone who didn't have a father growing up.
Okay.
So I have a story running in my head that I didn't meet him till I was about, 7 or 8. Whether or not that's true, I'm not sure, but that's the story that plays in my head.
Okay.
So then I meet my father, all of that, whatever, and then when I'm 13, he brings my brother and sister, they're twins, into life with my stepmom, who's an amazing woman. Like, she is the best woman ever, other than my mom. Love you, Mom. So anyways, Dad gets a second chance at being a better father.
Right.
And he does so, or at least, I'm not going to say he was the best dad ever, but he was better than the one I experienced.
For sure.
At least he was there for them.
Of course.
So, through a turn of events, they got my dad and my stepmom separated quite early on, because he's a bit of a shit. And if you're watching this, it's true, dude. Anyways, so then he's on to woman number whatever, moves in with her, and sets up a room for my brother and sister to move into. But this is my opinion. I'm not saying this is true, but they're not really into all this change, all this whatever. At the time, now they're 16, so I don't know. I can barely remember what it's like to be a 16-year-old kid, but basically, it led to space in between my father and my brother and sister. So 6 months go by where they're no longer talking.
Right.
And so now they're like, throughout that 6 months, their lives just kind of went downhill. I didn't really know I was going to share these details about them, and I feel kind of bad. But let's just say, between dropping out of school, starting to use drugs, and a number of other things, these really good kids, we're talking the talents that these kids have in sports, music, intelligence.
Of course.
It was very surprising to hear what I was hearing.
Of course.
But at the same time, kids in pain are going to be kids in pain. You never know how pain's going to
they
come out.
Sometimes they don't know how to express it. Not everybody can go up to someone and be like, hey, can we talk? I need help.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing.
Yeah, well, and especially when you start to feel abandoned by a parent.
For sure.
I have the benefit of growing up as someone who identifies as the father never being there.
So, yeah, it's a little different.
And my mother's love was so abundant and around that I never felt like there was anything missing.
Right.
I couldn't imagine having any more because everything was so good. But for my brother and sister, they have a very different experience where someone was there occupying space, whether or not they were the best parent with unconditional love, support, and nurturing, or even a suitable form of discipline, however you want to frame a father figure. I have a difficult time because it's not something I have much experience having, or any. But and then for them to step away and in a very selfish way, or what could look like a very selfish way, and start with in a new family. And it wasn't even the first time that happened. There was another girl and another right in between. And I can't imagine what it's like to be them.
Fair enough.
So it's hard for me to know what they're going through. But anyways, it got to the point where my stepmom started to worry about not only their health and well-being, but suicide was started to be something that came up. And at that point, I was a wreck about it. Because I haven't necessarily, previous to that, been the best brother to them either. I would say my relationship with them is more like my relationship with my father, which is very...
Like it's there, it's just not...
It's like fake as fuck. Like, let's just be honest. It's like polite.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So it's kind of like, when you...
It's not very real.
Like, you see someone, you're nice to them, and like, I know you have your unconditional love because of your brother and sister, but but you just, it's not...
It's the questions that you don't really care to ask, followed by the questions that you don't really care to answer.
For sure.
It's very it's very brunch. It's very like...
Okay, yeah, like...
I don't know how else to phrase it, but... Anyways, not a lot of substance. So all that kind of guilt kind of came up and whatever, and like I said, I was at work kind of crying about it. My boss was like, what's going on? I explained the situation, and he tells me family is something that was extremely important to him, and suicide is something that had affected him on multiple levels throughout his life. So he insisted, he gave me $100 out of his pocket. He said, take as much time as you need. You need to go over to Vancouver and be with your family right now. And I was like, absolutely. And at that point, I had two narratives start. And that's what I wanted to read, because I started a journal before it, but I brought 5 different journals, and none of them were the right one.
No worries, man.
So anyways, 2 narratives started, and it was, like I said, I was knee-deep in a prep for 2 shows.
Yep.
I was on my way to Vancouver to compete at the T-Zone Natural Championships, and then the week after, Canadian Natural Nationals.
Okay.
Which was the biggest show I've ever done.
That's awesome.
Up to this point. Yeah, it was the largest event in natural bodybuilding Canadian history, so it was great.
That's so cool.
But anyways, that aside, it was 3 weeks away from event number 1, so I had 2 narratives starting, and one was, I'm going to Vancouver to separate myself from my distractions so I can finish my preparations for my shows. I had been dieting for these shows up at that point for 5 months. At the end, it was a 6-month prep, 6-month diet, 6-month whatever, which is a long diet for something like that. So I had put my whole I put fucking everything into that. And I didn't leave anything on the table for that prep. It was everything to me. So anyways, I had the 2 narratives. One is I'm going to Vancouver to finish up my prep and just give it everything I got. And the other narrative was I'm going to save my family's life.
Of course, right? Like, you're going to...
Yeah. And be the role model to my brother and sister that I always kind of wanted in my life. Because, I wasn't going there to fix anything. I was going there to set an example.
For sure, yeah. Like, I mean, you can only do so much, right? Like, this is...
Yeah.
It's, yeah. And, as much as you want to help them, you can only talk... All you can do is really talk to them.
All you can do is talk. And sometimes even what's better than talking is letting them watch.
For sure.
There's something to be said about inspiring others through living an inspiring life. Because you can sit there and try to get a message through to someone through force, through talking at someone. But at least in my experience, often when I'm getting that, it goes in one ear, out the other. I don't give a shit.
Right.
But when I see someone doing something inspirational, there's no way around it. It hits you right here. You know what I mean? It's like, I can't ignore this. That can't go in one, out the other. I saw it.
Yeah, like this is.
I watched it go down.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I watched you pull that kid out of a fire. Or you know.
Like whatever experience it was.
Whatever
yeah.
it is. Like, even when I see someone like yourself doing a show like this, or, you know, I'm a big fan of Joe Rogan, Impact Theory, or it doesn't matter what it is. When you see someone being awesome, you get that little feeling inside that says, I want to be awesome too.
For sure, yeah.
So anyways, I go over to Vancouver, and that's when the adventure really started. Now, I'm telling you, every single day, so many miracles happen, so many adventures happen, that I have to skip over so much stuff. So just the bulk of it is... I could never have predicted it to go as well as it did.
Okay.
With my brother and sister. It worked. It worked. The plan went off without a hitch. It was great.
That's all you can ask, right? Like, that's amazing.
In a very short amount of time, where it was scary to know if this was sustainable, or if it was just an act.
For sure.
But I'm telling you, sitting here, now we're at 7 weeks later, it's still a steady uprise. The kids
That's amazing.
The kids start school next week. They're off. They're living clean, healthy lives. They're both playing music again. It's insane.
That's amazing.
It is insane. But anyways, before I had left, I had done some photo shoots with some teammates and whatever. And when I went over to Vancouver, some photos started to float around on social media, and all that stuff. And it must have looked for my employer like I was just out having a good time.
Right, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he had given me this time to go be with my family, but because my teammates and everything were posting these photos...
Like a previous photo shoot.
Yeah, but it looks like, oh, wow, yeah, here's Adam, like, having a good time, just prepping for my shows. So I understand, but I got a phone call from him while I was in the gym. And it was, hey, can we talk? And it was like, I'm in the gym right now, I'll call you back. I'm like 3 weeks out of a show. I'm not stepping away from a workout to talk to anybody. You're lucky if I even fucking pick up my phone. But it was Neil, the man it was my employer who was nice enough to give me this time to go be with my family. I thought maybe it'd be a quick call, so I answered.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. He wanted to talk, so at that point I had to call him later. I spend a lot of time in the gym. I didn't get the chance. Didn't call him for like 3 hours because between my workout, my posing, and my cardio and my meal, it took some time. So when I did call him, he was upset that in the length of time it took me to call him back. He had expressed that he had felt like I had taken advantage of him, and that I was just taking like some holidays, vacations, or whatever. And he had asked me to come back to work. And the answer was no. And I knew it was no. And I had to kind of decide, how serious are you? Like, what's going on? What's the test here? Like, explain to me what's going on. Somebody. And the conversation got heated. And conversations between my employer and myself never got heated before. So we had a very respectful relationship. I really loved him. There again, as someone who grew up without a dad, or that's the story that runs in my head, male role models have always kind of been an odd thing for me.
For sure.
And I mean, this is an older man that I worked with, looking up to, for 10 years. Yeah. In a lot of ways, this was my father. I'd spent more time with hours in a room with this guy than my own dad ever. Of course. And he is a really good man and a really good father to his kids, a really good business owner. I really respect the way that he lives his life, although it's not what I would choose for myself, just because I'm the whole wife, kids, house, boat, dog. That's basically the American dream. Yeah. And he's got it. Yeah. He's got the house. He's got the 2 beautiful kids. He's got the dog. He's got the nice property. He's got the sweet boat. But fuck that shit.
I mean, you want to get out of the norm, right?
I want to be so far away from whatever the hell you want to call normal. It's ridiculous. But anyways, and I looked at the wall. I'm stumbling around now. Conversation got heated. He said, think about it. Think about it over the weekend. We'll talk on Monday, but I need you back this day, that day. And we got off the phone, and I'm like kind of dizzy. Like I'm a little messed up. And I'm walking around this gym in Vancouver, which I found as a home. Like I found this new gym called Cave Athletics. I found a new coach, new training partner, friends that I will never let go of. It was just fantastic.
That's awesome.
And anyways, I'm like stumbling around trying to process what just happened. And I look at the wall, and there was a quote, and it said, "What are you looking around for? Everything you need is right in front of you." And at that point, I knew I was quitting my job.
Like it was just like that. That was like the sign that it was just like this is it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was everything.
That's really cool that it was just like it was kind of like a meant to be moment, you know.
It was, and like I said, throughout that trip, there was so many of those meant to be moments, day to day,
that it was just kind of like
that it was so clear that I was exactly where I was supposed to be, doing exactly what I was supposed to be doing with the exact people I was supposed to be doing it with. And I walked around the corner and looked at the wall, and there was another quote, and it was a Bruce Lee quote, and it was, "Don't pray for an easy life, pray for the strength to endure a difficult one."
Oh my gosh, it's like literally...
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's just like sign after sign, you know?
Oh,
like,
and at that point, that's when my heart started to beat, because I was like, holy shit, I'm quitting my job.
Yep.
Holy shit.
Like,
and I'm pulling out my phone, and I'm like, this will be a good part of the story. I can't believe I'm about to do this. I'll call you on Monday, but I will never be putting on a fucking pair of coveralls ever again. Send. And I was like...
Like, I just sent this, like, this is...
Shit, I totally just did that, eh? Alright.
Like, gotta follow through.
Guess I'll get back to my workout. But, like, I had worked there for 8 years, right? And it's like, what now?
Yeah, like, I mean, like... You know, you're almost kind of lost, but at the same time, you're just trying to... It's not that you're lost, it's just that you're trying to get your footing on the path you're going on.
Yeah, well, I had the benefit of being 3 weeks out of...
a competition.
A show and another show. So I got to say to myself, I'll deal with all of this shit later.
That's right. This is a later
This
Adam
is a
problem.
later Adam problem.
Yeah.
Right now, showtime.
That's right.
Let's just focus on the show. And even though I just made one of the biggest life decisions that I ever will make, you know what I mean?
For sure.
At this time, anyways.
Yeah,
and,
like it's a pretty pivotal decision, you know. Like
yeah. Well, and I even made the decision to move to Delta, Surrey, because I was having such a good time there too, and felt like there was a lot of opportunity there for me. Things that came to fruition that taken that away from me, at least for now. I definitely think my purpose is here.
Okay.
With my team.
Yep.
With my sponsors and with a few other key people in my life, that this is where I belong right now. But what the fuck was the question again?
You were just explaining how you at the moment you knew was that was like, you know, I'm following my passion.
Yeah,
and that's really cool, man.
And then I had the weekend because now I've got the Monday phone call, right? And it's like, ugh. And then that was a huge weight over the shoulders on the weekend too, because it was like, I just want to get this over with.
For sure.
And, you know, then the fear starts to come up, like, what am I doing? Like, what am I going to do?
Yeah, it's just that anxiety where, like it's your mind trying to, like just comprehend the change you're making, and then it's just, like, it's like when you get, like, buyer's remorse, you know? It's just, like, you wasted this money, but it's, like, no, you wanted it, and, like, it's, like, either that, and it's just, or it's, like, you're... Like, the smaller part of your brain is just like, no, I know what's best. Like, this is what's going on.
Well, you're an electrician.
Yep.
You know, like, okay, so you know when you have a circuit and you have current flowing.
Yep.
Right? And then when you break that circuit, there's an intense force that tries to break the air and, like, break through everything just to keep that circuit going.
Yeah.
It seems that exists in all. Like, that's a part of nature. Anytime you have something that's working, something that's flowing, and you interrupt that, there's always going to be that, you know, call it ego, call it whatever you want. I like ego. But something's going to try to, no, keep everything the same. It's working. We're surviving. We don't want to change.
Yeah. So it's just like, you know, we don't want to break routine. we feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And then when you break out of that comfort, it's scary, 100%. Like you don't even know what's coming. You're just taking it day by day, hope thinking, like, staying positive, and it's gonna work.
Absolutely. And then so got the call to make on Monday. By Saturday or Sunday, I felt very guilty for the text message.
For sure.
Because at the end of the day, I respect the shit out of my old employer. I respect my old job. My job was great. I have nothing like...
Yeah.
It provided me a great life. It was a great position. I loved working there. My time there was very enjoyable.
For sure.
Nothing negative to say about it. Which is why it was such an attractive trap.
It's just like, it's a safety net, right?
It was so safe and comfy and warm and
you never want to lose it, right?
It was easy. It goes back to that quote: "Don't pray for an easy life. Pray for the strength to endure a difficult one." I had an easy life.
Yeah, so you made the change to up the difficulty.
It was very easy. I could have worked there forever and been fine.
Yeah, exactly right. You could have done your 9 to 5, but as we said in the post show, you don't want the 9 to 5. You want the hustle.
Yeah, it wasn't even 9 to 5. In all honesty, it was more like 8 to 2.
Even better.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
it was easy peasy, and it was so easy to convince myself that was where I belong, because I was like, well, I can do this and this.
For sure, right?
You know what I mean? I like you say with, I can be an electrician and do this. It's like I could have done my job and still kind of trained clients on the side. I still had all the time and energy to put towards my bodybuilding and all of that stuff. But it still was 6 hours away from my purpose.
6 hours a day, 5 days a week. There's 30 hours at working on your purpose, right?
Yeah, and in all honesty, since leaving that position, I've had no extra time. I'm still finding myself, oh God, it's 11, I need to go to bed, or...
For sure, right, yeah.
Or I still wake up at 5 a.m., and if I sleep until 6, I'm like, oh shit, I'm behind schedule.
Like, yeah.
And I still got to find a way to get more time.
That's awesome, man. So this is the part of the show called the motivational moment.
Oh, okay.
So I would like you to describe your passion in 5 words or less.
Oh, you did tell me you were going to ask me this,
I do.
Too. I've totally forgot. Okay, you want me to describe my passion in 5 words or less?
I do.
My passion in 5 words or less. Everything that matters to me.
I like it. It shows that your priorities are in line, that you are focused, and you're ready to pursue.
Yeah, I mean, that was very spur of the moment. In no way did I know that's what I was going to say to that question. I wish I had remembered that you told me you were going to ask me that, but if I was going to try to then go justify why I said that, my passion is everything that matters to me. So how can that add value to anyone else?
Yeah.
If you're searching for your passion, if you're out there looking for, or maybe you're asking yourself, oh, well, what's my passion? What's everything that matters to you? I mean... It's a good question to ask.
It is, what matters to you, and, is it, why aren't you pursuing something in it?
Yeah. Yeah, and to clearly define what my passion is, because my passion isn't winning trophies or getting on stage and flexing next to a bunch of tanned-up, oiled guys. My passion is inspiration through true expression of myself. The way that I choose to truly express myself is by following a daily ritual of certain things that happen to be journaling, cardio, gym, diet, and just because, bodybuilding isn't just weightlifting. Bodybuilding starts from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed to the quality of that sleep. It is all day, every day. Every decision that you make affects your physique and is a bodybuilder. So, my passion... It's so interesting. Is to help people find whatever it is makes them feel the way bodybuilding makes me feel.
Okay, so it's just you want to help people find their passion.
Yeah, I don't I'm not in no way trying to push everyone towards going and being a natural bodybuilder. Or, I mean, I would definitely have a wealth of knowledge. I am a coach as well, and I love sharing. Like, okay, so bodybuilding, fitness, health was the gate for me. That's what gave me everything that I have. It's what led me from a place of non-acceptance, fear, and just generally feeling lost to feeling like I've really stepped into myself, found a way for me to find my tribe members, and like-minded individuals. I mean, in a lot of ways, bodybuilding led me here to you.
This is true. I mean, it led me to talking to a couple of people, and then that led me to getting in touch with you. And
I would consider you a tribe member just because you are a person of passion and purpose as well.
100%, and I appreciate that.
Whether or not that's bodybuilding or an art form like this, just want to help other people find their thing.
That's awesome, man. So you mentioned that you're getting ready for some competitions. So like, how did you do in them? Or are they still coming up?
Well, my next show will be the Canadian Natural Nationals next year in August. I've just wrapped my season up. I competed in Delta Surrey at the Natural T-Zone Championships, where I won first place in bodybuilding, lightweight, and also overalls, which means I was not only the lightweight champion, but I was the champion of all weight classes.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
That's so awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. And then I competed in classic physique, which is very similar to bodybuilding, but with a little bit of 80s, 90s kind of style to it. More of a classic posing to it.
Oh, like kind of like Arnold Schwarzenegger and stuff.
That's
like that.
the idea. Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. Where I won first place in the short class, and then I won overalls, which means I was the best no matter how tall you were.
That's awesome.
At that competition. And I also won the Best Poser Award. So I cleaned up at that place and then went to Toronto and competed in Canadian Nationals, the largest natural competition of its kind in Canadian history.
Yep.
Where I was able to crack the top 5 of
That's incredible.
my weight class and height to weight class in both categories. So I'm very happy with the season. It happened exactly the way it was supposed to. As a bodybuilder, you always play to win.
For sure. I mean, it's like any kind of competition, right?
Yeah.
You strive to do the best. If you're not striving to be the best, why are you even playing the game, right?
Absolutely. But that being said, I placed where I would belong, or I was placed where I was supposed to be placed, and I'm excited to go back next year and beat all of you.
That's right. Dude, you can't even say like 5th place is incredible. Like,
oh yeah, I'm not upset about it.
No, that's amazing.
Yeah, I'm gonna beat you all though.
That he will. I know it.
Well, anyways, that's the thing with really this year is I'm not leaving anything under the I'm 29, will be 30. This year is all about it. Like I'm training, I'm recovering from my training.
Yep.
I'm taking on clients and coaching because, I look at all my clients as people that are donating to me and making what I need to do to be at my best for my competitions possible. So
for sure,
very grateful for all of my clients, present and to come. I don't remember where I was going with this, but
that's okay.
Yeah, it's exciting to look what's coming for what's to come. Especially because I'm now part of a team of athletes here in Nanaimo, of local athletes, and the team's incredible. And maybe in the future I'll be able to introduce you guys to some of them.
Yeah, I'd love that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, one of them, her name's Nicole Mackay. She's an RMT in Nanaimo. As of today, she's 10 days out of the Amateur Olympia, which is a part of the Olympia event.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so 10 days from now she'll be on the biggest stage there is in the sport.
That's incredible. She's reaching goals that she probably never even thought were even in the ballpark,
Well, that's the thing, when you step in your passion, you never know what's possible.
Exactly. Dream, when you work hard enough, dreams come true,
it's true.
Goals get achieved.
It's absolutely true.
But before you mentioned, you're an athletic coach. You do coaching and stuff.
Yes.
So how did you get into that? Is it just because with your passion for bodybuilding that you just were I want to inspire and help others the way that bodybuilding has inspired me, kind of thing? Or
yeah, and I'll speak to that in a way. Now, I don't mean to sound full of myself when I say this, but eventually when you get good enough at something,
yeah,
people are going to ask you about it.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
if you're a good enough photographer, at some point, a young kid's going to come up to you and say, teach me, teach me, teach me.
Yeah, like I went up to my buddy, he works at Best Buy. I went and talked to him. I was talking about cameras. I'm like, because he's a photographer. He's a photographer. I was like, hey, like, can you recommend me some things, if I wanted to upgrade? And that he was
Exactly.
He'd sit there and, hit me with some stuff that I didn't understand, but at the same time, it was like, I just appreciate that he's able to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it happens in anything. It doesn't matter if it's golf, hockey, whatever. We all find our mentors, just like I did when I was coming up. But, yeah, so it started a long time ago when a young kid had come up to me and asked me to show him a few things. And it built from there. I started a company called A2 Fitness with a really good friend of mine. His name was Adam as well. That's kind of why we were A2 Fitness.
Oh, it makes sense. Like
it was
Adam squared.
Yeah, it was Adam squared.
Oh, yeah?
It was Adam squared. Well, it was A squared, but then no one understood that it was squared. They're just like A2, so we just kind of ran with it. Yeah. It's A2 Fitness, sure. And we did a men and a women's fitness class, which I did we did together for about 6 months, and then he switched careers, and I ran it for another 1.5 years on my own.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And I've always had 1 or 2 people that I've worked with, mentored, or coached. But now moving forward, and I'm also certified, so that helps.
That definitely helps as well, yeah.
But now moving forward, I'm very open to taking on new clients, whereas before it was something I always did as a passion and for fun.
Yeah, for sure, and you didn't want to, like, overwhelm yourself.
No, I had a job.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? I had a job, I had my own commitments, and I had my own bodybuilding to focus on. But now I'm open to sharing this with other people. And I tell you, like, over the course of my career as a bodybuilder and weightlifter, I've ferociously studied the sport. I've ferociously studied the science behind nutrition, training methods, and lived it.
For sure.
Is the main thing. Like, there's something, you can study something all you fucking want, but, excuse my language, but until you've experienced it, tried it with other people.
Yeah. Trial and error is, like, the best way to experiment, like.
Yeah. Anyone with experience in anything knows the value of experience.
For sure.
And, I forget the question, but I hope I threw an answer out there at some point.
You did. It was just, how did you get into coaching and everything like that, and like.
Just being generally fucking awesome.
I like it, man. I love the confidence. It's great.
You kind of have to be a little bit.
You definitely do. I think confidence goes a long way. Like this.
Yeah.
It definitely like can when you're nervous. You can see people. Just like you can tell when someone's nervous and someone's confident. Like,
yeah,
you can see it in their eyes. You can see it in their.
It's true.
Everything.
And you can listen to Kendrick Lamar all you want and be humble. I mean, like, and it's important to be humble. But I feel like almost being humble is so pushed nowadays that there's no more room for you to be proud of yourself.
Yeah, like everyone's just.
Yeah, and I come from a place of non-acceptance and trying to change who I am to be accepted by others and all of that stuff. So I'm at a point now where I fucking love myself and I accept myself and I am very proud of myself and I don't care, like, I don't mind sharing that.
No, and that's awesome. I mean, like, it's you're expressing, that, you've made the right decisions, you're happy with where you are, and, like, you're ready to keep going, you're ready to, like, just, this, like, stars are the limit, like.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Like, not a lot of people can say they're that confident. There's not a lot of people can say they've, they feel that, like, they feel that good about themselves. A lot of people there's more positivity in you than negativity, like.
Right.
A lot of people, they'll do something, put themselves down, and then they'll just be like it's, and then they'll like talk themselves out of it, and they'll be like, okay,
that hurts my ears hearing that negative self-talk from so many people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it.
No, and I think there's too much in this world, like.
True. And even when it's people trying to act humble, you know what I mean? It's like, you just got to be careful that self-talk, you got to be careful what you're saying, because the words we say, the thoughts we think, have such a vast impact on the results of our life and our actions that, trust me, you're better off being a cocky douche than
yeah, totally. Like, you know,
a humble, self-deprecating. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know, you're at least when you're confident, you're willing to take risks.
It's true,
and you know, you're willing to try things, and that's, if you're not willing to do that in life, it's gonna be pretty boring, and it's gonna suck.
Yeah, confidence leads to you expressing yourself truly, and that's the main thing. True, I cannot argue that enough. It's all about expressing yourself truly to the world. Like, it's okay that you can be at home by yourself behind message boards expressing yourself truly and stuff like that, but what do you like in the mall? What do you like in a restaurant? What do you what do you like to a stranger that you're holding the door for? How can you find a true way to express yourself throughout everything you do?
100%.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I just wanted to thank you for coming on the show,
Hey,
Adam.
thank you. It was a lot of fun.
I appreciate you coming out, and like, it's really nice to meet you and everything.
Yeah, you too, man.
Where can the people find you? You know, if they want to check you out.
Well, I would say you can.
You can plug whatever you need, man.
Well, I'm not really into plugging. If you wanted to find me on Instagram, my name is super long and complicated. It's Adam Mackay.
It's okay. I'll put it in the video, though.
He's gonna put it.
I got it in the video. Don't worry.
Yeah. Find me in the gym. If you see me and you want to talk to me, don't hesitate. I'm very open to connecting with anybody with passion. And besides, if I don't like you, I just won't talk to you.
That's awesome.
But definitely feel like I'm here to share with others. People are my number one priority. That's pretty much all I have to say.
That's awesome, man. Thank you. You can find me at Just Koryzma on Facebook and Instagram and all that jazz. Don't forget, if you like the episode, hit that subscribe button. Check out the other videos. They're all great. And we'll see you guys next time. Thank you.